In the arms of the angel.
Welcome back to another episode of The Nerd's Opinion and What Happened to Kitster. Now, if you couldn't tell from the title of this video that I've got some, let's say, mixed opinions on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. In fact, as I type this script, I am currently rewatching A New Hope for the Force knows how manyth time. Granted, it's the version on disneyplus, which has, all of George Lucas's just excellent, wonderful changes and additions, but, at least it's still A New Hope. Oh wait, what was that? I criticized
Georgie?
Let's be honest. Even though the original trilogy does in fact have some flaws, it is still a masterclass in storytelling. The Kenobi show, not so much. So I'm going to tell you today why I am falling out of love with Disney Star Wars.
Because of Obi-Wan.
Let's begin at the beginning, because honestly there is a lot I love about this first episode. There's also a lot I do not love. It was, quite frankly, 70% of the time boring as sin. But I want to start off positive and talk on the things that I did really enjoy about it. And that's going to bring me to the best part, Bail Organa. Now, maybe I'm just getting soft in my old age. Definitely get softer in the middle. I should start taking advice from, Saiyans and not Jedi and get them high school abs back. But maybe it's the father in me. But the way they depicted Bail and Leia's, little Leia, cute little Leia, the way they depicted their relationship, man, I loved it. When she said that she didn't want to be a senator, and he said that's why she'll be one of the best. I mean, not only did that come to fruition, she is our princess and our leader of the rebellion. But speaking as a father, that's the kind of father I strive to be. Understanding the responsibility you have yourself, as well as the responsibility you have to impart on your child, while still showing them an unconditional love. There's got to be that line between being firm and being their loving protector that they know they can count on you to be. And frankly, I think that all of the, as few as there were, Bail and Leia scenes were just expertly done. Far more interesting than anything we saw out of Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, throughout the majority of this show. Also, Joel Edgerton as Uncle Owen. Frankly, it is a crime that this guy is not bigger. I mean, what else has he been in? That shitty remake of The Thing and Leonardo DiCaprio's Great Gatsby? Like, this dude needs to be bigger. He plays Owen perfectly, not just in relation to how we see Uncle Owen in the original trilogy, but if you've read the expanded universe, also in the expanded universe. There's not a lot I can say. Owen was fantastic, and while I don't want Disney to keep making Star Wars, if they're gonna keep making Star Wars, do it like that. Keep your characters in character. Which is why I want to get to Kenobi himself, the character Kenobi. Now, I've heard Nerdrotic and Geeks+Gamers talk about how this is it's a deconstruction of their classic character. And I'm going to start off by saying, I'm a fan of those guys. I am a part of the fandom menace, as it's called, as if wanting something you love to stay quality. Look, I'm also a Sonic fan, I'll be honest. Sonic the Hedgehog sucks at least 50% of the time. Star Wars has hit that as well. But I do think that they are wrong in this case, and I'm going to explain why. They want to talk about how Disney is deconstructing the character. They deconstructed Luke, which they really did. They deconstructed Han Solo and ruined him, which they did. I don't think they did that with Kenobi. And it goes to show that if they're stating that, it goes to show that they have not read any of the post-Revenge of the Sith expanded universe that came well before the Disney buyout. There was this book, Star Wars: The Last of the Jedi. Now, was it a YA novel? Absolutely it was. Was I a YA at the time that it came out? Absolutely. So I was the audience that book was for. And this was canon. This was years before the Disney buyout. And it takes place, roughly, in the same time period as this Kenobi show would have taken place. And Kenobi really is a beaten and broken, just tired effectively former Jedi. He hasn't forgotten his old ways, but he's really losing grips. He's losing grips and not able to come to terms with his failure in the Clone Wars and his failure to Anakin, and with his new duties of protecting Luke. And I saw a lot of these guys saying if Kenobi leaves Tatooine, then that's not what his character would do. That's not how his character would act. His mission was to stay there with Luke. Yeah, that was his mission, but in that canon pre-Disney book, he left Tatooine, joined up with a former Jedi that quit being a Jedi before Order 66, named Ferris Olin, who was just a Padawan at the time, so he didn't, he wasn't killed. And I don't remember the entire plot of why he seeks out Ferris Olin, but the point is, in that book, he leaves Tatooine. This is all within the Kenobi character. Or, if you're going to claim it's not within the Kenobi character, it means we can't blame Disney for every bad thing, because this was well before the Disney buyout. So all in all, I think Kenobi, for the most part, was in fact in character throughout the majority of this show. That being said, I do have some pretty major issues with the overall plot of this show. Now let's talk about little Leia. Little cute little baby Leia. Oh, I love her. She was so great. I love little Leia. For the most part. She was intelligent. She was outgoing. She was boisterous. She was a younger, again, in-character version of the woman we will grow to see 9 years later in A New Hope. That being said, she is still 10 years old. When I don't like little Leia is when the 10-year-old is upstaging the wise, aged man. Moments like when Kenobi calls Leia and blows their cover. No, the 10-year-old should have made that mistake, not the wise old man that was a not even old really, wise older man by comparison, who was a war general and tactician. I get they're trying to show that he's out of touch and that maybe his age is catching up to him, but having the 10-year-old be more intelligent than him in 9 out of 10 times, that's a very poor way to do it. Or let's also talk about the way that she can just apparently fix blast doors, where the ships are going to take off by connecting one wire. Or how about the fact that she was able to not be terrified during Imperial interrogation? She's 10. She's fucking 10. Look, I'm an 8.5-year-old. I so much as threatened to take her favorite toy away, her tablet or whatever, and she is a puddle on the floor. And that's over not getting an iPad if she backtalks or something. I don't care how strong and brave and amazing Leia grows to be. There's a lot of times where she is not written like a 10-year-old. And that's a problem, and that does a disservice to this show's overall plot. Also, another thing that does a disservice regarding Leia that is a problem with the show's overall plot, it pertains to A New Hope. Oh, she went on this whole big grand adventure with Obi-Wan and now doesn't remember him. She makes no mention of knowing him, or when Luke first discovers that message from Leia, and he and Ben Kenobi see it, she's like, yeah, you served my father in the Clone Wars. Hey, not you saved me when I was a child, I need your help again. Now, obviously, that movie was made 40 plus years ago, so it's not like they can go back and retroactively change it, although I bet George would try were he given the opportunity. No, but that's why having Leia and Kenobi be together so much and being such an integral part to one another is a disservice to the writing of the original film. It now makes no sense. Why is Leia asking a favor on behalf of her father to a man that she's acting like she doesn't know, when by the end of the show they got a bond? Obi-Wan tells her in little snippets what he thought of her birth parents and that he hopes they meet again. If Leia is as intelligent and strong and capable as this show leads us to believe, she wouldn't have just forgotten about that. So, in fact, it probably helped shape her into the princess that we get in A New Hope. So, but now she's not bringing it up. It's a loose plot thread that I don't like. They should have had very, very minimal contact with one another. And Obi-Wan still could have left to save her, but he could have done it in a way where Leia never knew who he was, and that would have inherently made A New Hope still make sense. Here's the part of the video that's probably going to get me in trouble. I was about to talk about the third sister. Look, let's be honest. Disney's trying to claim that if you hate her, you're racist. That's really disingenuous on Disney's part. Moses Ingram, she's just not a good actress. At least not in this role. I've never seen her in anything else I can think of, but not in this role. Now, when an actor is giving a bad performance, it's due to one of two reasons. Bad direction, or they are just bad at acting. I don't think it's bad direction, because Deborah Chow is a fantastic director. She does great at the helm. Also, if she was a bad director, everyone's performance, or at least a lot of the performances, would have been bad. The only truly bad performance I got out of the show was Moses Ingram as the third sister. And you can't call me racist or sexist, because I just said I loved Deborah Chow's directing, and she is Asian and female, so it's not like I have any sort of issue with, my minorities or women. I just don't like Moses Ingram's acting, and I think her character is so poorly written. I was almost murdered when I was a child, so now I'm gonna grow up to kill Jedi so I can kill the guy that killed the Jedi. Okay, well, that plan makes no sense. Also, she does this thing where when she's trying to be intimidating, she keeps her teeth closed. Now, I don't know how many of you people have ever been in intense altercations about to have a fight, trying to talk tough, act big. You don't do this because you just look like a fucking idiot. She really overcompensates her tough guy, tough girl, whatever persona. It took me out of the story every time. It was so beyond try hard. All that being said, all that, I could potentially forgive if the show wasn't just so riddled with plot holes and bad camera work. I know I just talked about how great a director Deborah Chow is, because I've seen Deborah Chow do great work. And when it comes to wide shots, those wide shots were great. It's the tight, close angles and a lot of writing decisions that really makes no sense. When Tala and Obi-Wan and Leia are going through that secret tunnel to get the extraction point, Obi-Wan decides he needs to go back and be a distraction for Vader. Okay, I already have issues with he and Vader, seeing each other again, but we'll get to that, later. Then, the third sister, Reva. I haven't even said her name up to this point because it so fucking doesn't matter. Reva finds the hidden passage. Well, that's all well and good, but prior to that, Tala decided, hey, I'm gonna go help Obi-Wan. So she runs back the direction that they came, also leaving little Leia alone. Stupid decision. I love Tala. Tala's a great character, but stupid decision. Leaves little Leia alone and runs back that way. How did her and, third sister not cross paths? Well, obviously, third sister didn't use those tunnels. She found a way around. How did she know where the tunnels would end? And even if she did know where the tunnels would end, which there's no reason to believe she would, because, well, a cardinal rule of filmmaking is show don't tell. But this show created an even egregiously worse sin in that they didn't show or tell. She just appeared. And she also appeared there before Leia and killed the pilot. This show, things like this happen frequently. Characters just kind of pop up where they need to be when logically they shouldn't be there. It makes no sense that they're there. There's also a couple shots, like in that very first fight between Obi-Wan and Vader. Obi-Wan ducks, this way, behind cover. When the camera, comes back to him, he comes back this way. And it looks like he just ducked behind a rock, then came back. Really, it was a mirrored shot. He ducked this way, and it was supposed to be the other side of the rock, showing him still coming this way. But the way it's cut is just, it is a bad cut. So at the end of the day, I love Star Wars. Clearly everybody loves Dragon Ball, anime in general, Sonic the Hedgehog, video games, sci-fi, fantasy. I love a lot of nerd things. But my greatest love is film. I am a film nerd. And so while some of you Star Wars fans might be able to make excuses for this sort of thing, it is still bad filmmaking. And despite being a Star Wars fan, when I see egregiously done shots like that, it's taking me out of the experience. You are supposed to be professionals. You're fucking Disney. I mean, what is your budget? Probably bigger than my entire apartment complex. And you can't get basic shots right? And you can't tell, let alone show how a character ends up at what should be a mathematically impossible location for her to be at. I mean, you could say, oh, she used the Force to know where to go, used the Force to know to get there. Then show us that. Show, don't tell. And if you're not going to show, at least tell. And of course, we have to talk about it. This is a review. The infamous trenchcoat scene. You're telling me this Imperial Inquisitor base that is on high alert and on lockdown doesn't notice the fat four-legged guy, but he's only fat with the bulge on one side and two of the legs are tiny, headed towards an exit? We saw stormtroopers and everything, and security personnel all in that area, and no one noticed that and thought it was weird until Reva comes in and to attempt to stop it. Not only that, frankly, I don't think it makes sense that they were even able to get there in the first place. And maybe you're going to say I'm being nitpicky, but I have a general grievance about the fact that they were even able to get into the Inquisitor's fortress. And here's why. Tala, again a great character, has been working as a double agent. She works for the Empire, then helps smuggle out refugees and whatnot. Really cool. That's awesome. Until she meets Obi-Wan and Leia, her whole crew's murdered except for her. So, no one reports into security, no one checks in, and that's not... The Empire isn't just like, hey, we haven't heard from assignment sector 2349 or whatnot. Who's the officer in command? Oh, hey, there's all these bodies here and the officer's nowhere to be found. No, Tala's security clearance gone. Like, all her soldiers are dead, and she's not there, and she hasn't cleared in, hasn't checked in, cleared security or anything, hasn't even tried to come up with a cover story. No, her security clearance, her access is gone. So the fact that she still had her access and her clearance, that in and of itself is absolutely dumb. List of other major issues. Let's talk about when, Reva captures Obi-Wan. Before that, they're whispering to each other through this giant, this thick cement. Now again, you could say, oh, they were using the Force, that's how they were to hear each other, because frankly, it should have sounded like, that's it. First of all, shouting shouldn't have been able to be heard through that cement block, and metal and all that, but they were whispering. Now you can say they were using the Force to communicate, okay, then don't have them move their mouths. Do a voiceover with a filter on it to show that they're communicating telepathically, because that is an ability the Jedi have been shown to have. But they're not. They are talking. And Reva is so dumb, she's openly talking and being noticeably secretive, body language-wise and everything, in front of a bunch of stormtroopers. And then once Kenobi is captured, she does it again. Kenobi's on his knees, and she's looking down at him, whispering about how they're going to take out Vader together, or he's going to at least get her in a position where she can take out Vader, in front of a garrison of stormtroopers. Poor writing, poor decisions. It's all in all just, again, if you like Star Wars, I get it. I like Star Wars. But you should be able to critically think that these are bad decisions that should not logically happen, and you should care about your stories enough to care when bad writing like this is happening. You shouldn't be happy that you're just getting more Star Wars content. It's the obvious case of quality over quantity. I will take, and I think everyone should take, fewer stories of a far higher quality caliber than just a bunch of stories that are haphazardly put together that reek of amateur hour. There are fan films on YouTube with better Star Wars stories than this. And then let's talk about all of the Darth Vader Reva shenanigans, because I have some issues with that as well. So, ship flies off. Darth Vader, in true Darth Vader awesome fashion, is just ripping this ship down, pulling it apart, showing his mastery of the Force. And then, okay, turns out it's decoy. Another ship flies off. Is this a fucking video game? Could he not just do that again? Has he used all of his Force powers, Force Unleashed style? Like, just yank that other ship out of the sky. You're Darth fucking Vader. But again, the heroes have to escape, so they come up with a dumbass reason for it that could have been handled a whole lot better. And then Reva takes her moment to strike, her moment to attack. Now, first of all, she gets stabbed. Now, we have seen on at least 2 occasions throughout Star Wars, when you get stabbed with a lightsaber, you're fucking dead. It happened to Qui-Gon, and it happened to at least one clone in Kashyyyk when Order 66 happened, and Yoda straight up murked the clones that were going to kill him. So, lightsaber to the chest, boom, dead. How did she survive? I don't fucking know. Grand Inquisitor walks up. How did he survive? Don't fucking know. Granted, he has to be in the show to keep canon with Rebels, because he's alive in Rebels, and Rebels takes place after this. But then he never should have gotten stabbed by Reva in the first place all those episodes ago. If you're not going to explain why the fact that people in previous movies have been stabbed by a lightsaber and fucking died, but now characters are able to walk it off, it's only a fucking lightsaber. No. Reva should have died, and the Grand Inquisitor should have never been stabbed to begin with. Maybe force flung off the building, so that maybe there's a chance of... If he was force flung off the building, and we never actually see him land, we never see his body, okay, we don't know what happened. No body, no death. But we saw both those characters at different points in the series get stabbed by lightsabers. They're chill. Like, does Reva even have... I don't think she does. In the final episode, when she's going after Luke, which, by the way, I don't understand, but I'll get to that in a moment. When she's going after Luke, she doesn't like have a hole or anything. I don't think she's bandaged up. There's no hole in her armor. Maybe I missed it, but I was looking for it and didn't see it. So... Yeah, none of this makes sense. But let's get to the last episode. In my opinion, the worst episode. It did not wrap things up nicely in a neat little bow. It did not satisfy. It did not pay off. In fact, it added more plot holes, more contrivances, and let's get it out of the way. This is the episode that is supposed to wrap everything up. There have been some canonical issues going forward. This gives this episode the chance to tie it off in a nice little bow. This episode is the chance to make it all make sense. Like, hey, we know that there's been some canon-breaking things up to this point. Here's our chance to explain it away. And instead, they double down with the bad writing. They drive the point home. They do not give a fuck about the original trilogy. Vader's on the Star Destroyer, and they're after the ship that Obi-Wan's on. And Vader just strolls up, crucial firepower. You're trying to kill these people. What? Why wasn't your firepower already at maximum? Like, Obi-Wan's on that ship. You want Obi-Wan dead. And you don't give a fuck about any of the other, people on that ship. Why were your lasers not already at maximum? Word about in the fight with Obi-Wan and Vader, where Obi-Wan's all like, "Oh, dude, I must," and then does that whole like pose and shit. Okay, Obi-Wan may have fought Anakin 10 years ago. Obi-Wan's done a lot of shit. He's been a war veteran. He's been in a lot of battles. I just doubt he would remember saying that line specifically and then reiterate it again as if that was some super important line. No, that was for us, the fans, and I appreciate fan service, I really do. And there has been good fan service. But that ain't it. That was just ham-fisted. Ooh, remember Revenge of the Sith? We're about to get you hyped up, boy! Like, no, you lost me, actually, because I don't think this fight should even be happening. At all. But that aside, they fight. So let's analyze the fight. While I know at many points, or at least at one point, Vader just sucker punches Obi-Wan. Frankly, it was funny as shit to see. But then doesn't do anything. I remember there was one particular sucker punch in Star Wars. What happened? The guy with the oh right, Darth Maul, just sucker punches Qui-Gon, stab, dead, game over, dead. So Darth Vader, sucker punch Obi-Wan, stab, should be dead. Obviously, you can't kill off Obi-Wan. He's alive in the original trilogy, but frankly, you haven't cared about canon thus far, so why the fuck start caring about it now? So no. In this fight, if this were an actual fight to the death, which Darth Vader has stated it is, he wants to kill Obi-Wan. Sucker punch. Obi-Wan's like, oh, stab. He doesn't have defense. But then the reverse happens. There's a scene later on where Obi-Wan is just busting Vader in his chest control panel with the hilt of his blade. Okay, if he's busting him with the hilt of his blade, that means that Vader's not defended there. Why wasn't his blade turned this way? So he's stabbing him instead. Again, they're trying to make this fight look more dynamic. They're trying to make it epic. Like, oh, you haven't seen anything like this since Revenge of the Sith. You're right, I haven't seen anything like this since Revenge of the Sith. I haven't seen any good lightsaber fights since Revenge of the Sith, because prequels fucked that up majorly, and this is no better because your choreography is an absolute mess. And then it keeps cutting between that Reva, searching for Luke. First of all, why? Wasn't her goal Vader? What did she possibly have to get out of going after Luke? Who she doesn't even know is relevant. Like, no one, not even Darth Vader and the Emperor, knew about the twins. She has no idea that Leia is Vader's daughter. Like, what's her motivation for traveling to Tatooine to go after Luke? So she decides to bombard Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's, house, and they're fighting her off. And honestly, it's a pretty cool scene. I won't lie. Like, frankly, the action of that scene far better than what we're getting from Obi-Wan and Vader at this moment. Despite how much I hate Reva, it is a better shot scene until Reva actually encounters Luke, because she comes through, lightsaber ablaze, and then Beru's like, go Luke, go, and Luke's climbing up the thing. So since his back is already to Reva, he doesn't see her blade. So she unsheaths it and goes after him. And the whole reason she unsheaths it, I believe, is because in A New Hope, Luke has never seen a lightsaber before. He's bewildered by it when he pulls it out. Well, you can't have that bewilderment if he's already seen a lightsaber before. He would know what it is, as opposed to Obi-Wan having to explain it. Disney is picking the weirdest shit to keep canonical. To be like, oh, well, Luke's never seen a lightsaber, so we have to make sure her blade is not ignited anytime she's around Luke. But meanwhile, Leia just got no memory of Obi-Wan. Fuck him. Like, where's your heads, writers? This is atrocious. Look, I get it. You're never gonna be good enough to write Shadow of the Empire. You guys definitely ain't no Timothy Zahn's writing good Thrawn shit. And you absolutely aren't balls enough to, bring a legit version of the Yuzhan Vong into these movies. But is this the best you got? Basically what it boils down to is you have written your characters into canon-compromising positions, and now you need to find a way to get them out of those positions. And if you do not have a well-written way to get them out of canon-compromising positions, they shouldn't have been written in those canon-compromising positions to begin with. This is absolutely the fault of Disney, absolutely the fault of the writers. I didn't check to see if Dave Filoni was a writer on this one. I like Dave Filoni. I don't think he's God's gift to Star Wars like everyone else seems to think he is, but he's fine. These shots are all competently shot, but the choreography is awful. The writing is awful. I don't know how many times I can talk about how not good the overall plot is, which really sucks, because character-wise, this is a good show. I think Tala is great. I like Lil Leia most of the time. Roken, Ice Cube's son. Frankly, I thought they should have done more with him. Like, he had potential to be a cool character, but really he was just a kind of a glorified cameo. He had about as much screen time as he did in fucking Godzilla. Vader, for the most part, acted in character. Again, there are times, like, he tells Reva, "You fuck up again, I'm gonna fucking kill you." She fucks up again. He should have killed her, but instead, she's all like, "Well, I put a tracker on them." He should have been like, "Well, great, now I can track them." Snap. Like, when you see Vader walking through the streets, and there's that little kid that falls out the window, he just force snaps, like, peak Vader. You gave us good Vader. You gave us good Uncle Owen. You gave us good Kenobi. You gave us great Bail Organa and Brea. You dropped the ball on anything that wasn't characters. And Reva. You dropped the ball on Reva, but it's just, nothing was saving that character. At the end of the day, this show made me... It did succeed in something I didn't think was possible. And that's make me hate Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not that that's Ewan's fault. I still think Ewan is a great actor and a great Obi-Wan. He truly feels like a young version of Alec Guinness. But if his whole thing is to keep Luke safe, protect the boy, he beats Vader. I don't think this fight should happen, as I've said, but it did. So let's roll with it. He beats Vader again, like he did in Revenge of the Sith. And instead, he has come to the conclusion that this is not Anakin anymore. He has straight up said that my friend really is dead, which, signifies, alright, this is Vader now. I've given up my attachment to Anakin. Just looks down to Vader, goodbye, and fucks off back to Tatooine. Like, you know the threat Vader is. You are a Jedi. At this point, you have reclaimed your title of Jedi. You are back to being the man you were, the good and honorable man. You know the monster that this man is. You know the monsters the Empires are. You know what he can do to other planets, other star systems, to Luke if he ever finds out about him. And you don't strike him down. You're just like, deuces. No, Kenobi. Now you're the bad guy. You literally let everything bad that happened in all of Rebels and A New Hope, everything bad that's happened, all the deaths from that moment on to, frankly, until Vader dies, it's on you. Because you had the moment to strike him down. You have come to the conclusion that he is no longer the man, the boy you loved, and you have come to the conclusion that you are a Jedi again. You have come to the conclusion this is a Sith, and you still just peace out and say later. Every single death from that moment on that is caused by Vader is because of Obi-Wan. They made Obi-Wan the villain. And that is unfucking forgivable. But it wouldn't be Disney Star Wars if I didn't have at least one more canon-breaking issue. At this point, Obi-Wan knows Vader's alive. Or vice versa. Vader knows Obi-Wan's alive. Because Vader just lost to him again. So once again, in A New Hope, Tarkin says, "You, the Jedi, are extinct. You, my friend, are the last of that ancient religion." Or what the fuck ever. I'm paraphrasing, but he straight up says, "The Jedi are extinct. You're the last of that ancient religion." Okay. Vader and Tarkin were peers. I don't know how much you remember about A New Hope, but Tarkin's the main bad guy, not Vader. Tarkin's pretty fucking high up on the list of Imperial totem pole homies. If Vader came back to his, shuttle suffering a lightsaber-based defeat at the hands of a Jedi, knowing they were tracking Kenobi, then that means Tarkin knows Kenobi's alive, Kenobi won, and Kenobi got away. Well, if that's the case, why would he assume just 9 years later, oh, Kenobi's dead now? Vader's the last of the Jedi. We haven't seen Kenobi in 9 years. He's dead. That's not the kind of military tactician that Tarkin is. And also, the Emperor. The Emperor would absolutely know about this humiliating defeat. And Obi-Wan's no fucking small fry Jedi. He is a genuine threat. The Emperor would be like, we want this motherfucker found. So there's at least two people that know that Obi-Wan's still out there, besides Vader himself. why are you saying the Jedi are extinct, and why has nothing been done to hunt down the criminal that Obi-Wan is for letting Vader live? This is a betrayal of the character that George Lucas has written. I am about done. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say. I do want to end on positives, because there was a lot about this show that I genuinely loved. Bail and Leia's relationship, however brief we got to see it, was wonderful. And as much as I hate the last episode, the last few minutes of the last episode, where you see Obi-Wan and Leia and Bail and Breya all together on Alderaan, that those tearful goodbyes, the thank you my friends, like, as much as I hated this episode, that still got me. I still found myself tearing up at the relationships on display and the raw emotion on display in that moment. Also, when Kenobi says that Luke needs Owen, not that Luke needs Kenobi, and Kenobi's going to leave, and Owen goes, "You want to meet him?" And the first words that Kenobi says to Luke, "Hello there." Nostalgia bait that I fell for, hook, line, and sinker. And I am a Star Wars fan. I truly am. Because that Liam Neeson cameo at the end, that's good writing. That is an example of good writing. Because from episode 1, this show has been building up Obi-Wan's failure to connect with the Force and connect to his old master. And I knew, from episode 1, I knew that would be the payoff in the last episode. That would be literally how the show would end. And it still felt earned when that happened. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon saying he just wasn't ready to see him, and them effectively riding off into the sunset together, Indiana Jones style. Like, I loved it. That felt earned. So what are my thoughts? This is a fantastic fanfic, but that's all it is. It breaks canon. It's horribly written. It's okay. It's paced okay. There's issues that episodes have episodes that don't. I've seen a whole lot worse on fan sites, let me tell you. But this is Star Wars. Professional grade Star Wars. So even though I may have seen a whole lot worse, I expect a whole lot more than this Bantha Poodoo. So I'm ready to leave this show in the galaxy far, far away. Check out one of my other videos. I have more thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog, Dragon Ball Z, other Star Wars topics. Until then, gotta go fast.